Why not? Just at the end. Just be kind.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TARDIS Zone. This is NuWhoZone. Your mic's off. I think it's on. I had got it off at the start, but I'm here. Hello. Anyway, yeah, I hope you're all doing well. If you're at the being on Twitter there, I just did a Twitter stream. Someone needed to be called out. Got called out, simple as that. I won't be bringing any drama here, so I'll be doing those streams on Twitter, but I'm just sick and tired of the fandom at this stage. You think 5 years down the road, people cop on to themselves and get on with it. But, excuse me, unfortunately, there seems a few feathers have been ruffled by Chris's return on YouTube. I won't get into it. I did the stream on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, there's a nice little stream for you there to talk about and to leave comments if you want to. But we're here for the second part. I'm finally here for the second part of the Zygon. We had the Zygon invasion, and then a lot of things got in the way. But we're here now. We've got to the second part now, so the Zygon inversion. So I'm actually looking forward to this because we have had a bit of crap over the last couple of weeks. So it'll be nice to sit down and watch a bit of decent Doctor Who, hopefully. I do remember the story being very good, have to be honest. I think I do prefer the second part though. I think a lot of people thought the first part was great, but the second part, obviously we have the famous speech in the second part, but if you analyze the whole episode, some people say it's not the greatest. I don't know if I agree with that, but we'll see anyway. But I'm not alone, because of course there'd be no point in me just being here to talk about this story. We have to have a panel, don't we? We have to have different opinions, or maybe we might all have the same opinions, you don't know. But let's bring them on. And let's start off with royalty, as usual, on this channel. It's the one and only Queen Charlotte.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello. And there's no sound. Whoa!
We'll see how it goes, folks. I'm no longer using my. As you can see, I've got these headphones back.
I figured that out the other night. Because we were behind. We were backstage the last time. Because people don't. See, this is the thing that people don't see either. They think we just do all streams together and then we all feck off. That's not the case. Sometimes we hang around and we talk. There are times where we can't hang around and talk, but we do hang around and talk most of the time. And Charlotte figured out how to fix the mic, hopefully.
Well, this is my current solution. I'm currently in the process of getting a better setup, so I need to get that. So this is my current solution.
Right, well, it seems to be working, so let's not jinx it. Let's bring on our next guest, and it's the one and only PD Rich.
Hey, I'm back.
Hello, PD.
What's been happening over the past 3 weeks?
A Zygon man. Well, we'll find out later on, won't we? We will find out later on. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get the episode ready because I'm a bit behind because I did get distracted today. But as I said, I don't want to get into details, but if you're going to go after friends of mine, and again, people are, I don't know what people think they're going to gain by picking on people like Daniel or having a go. It's not going to fly with me. He can support who he wants to support. I remember this was actually targeted at Daniel before, when people tried to convince him to get away from me, and from both sides, might I add. I'm not just going to say it was a tactic from a certain side. It wasn't. There was quite a few people that were trying to get into Daniel's ear. Daniel is his own person, but you know, you can't be attacking him by association. I'm sick of this rubbish. You know, just because he supported what Chris said in his latest video. And even I have been a huge supporter of RTD. I have to say, this video, when it was laid out bare in that video, I did sit up, take notice, and it was food for thought. Now, have I changed my opinion on giving RTD a chance? No, because I said I was still going to give him a chance, and the only way I can judge it myself is by
watching it.
Right? And that's what I will do. But to say that to say his video in some way shouldn't be out there, I'm glad he put that video out there, to be quite honest with you. It did make me sit up and think. And it did give me a different perspective on things. You mightn't like what he said, but he laid out the facts clear and precise. So I don't know why everybody is having a go. But just because you're angry at him, don't be going and attacking people by association because they support them. It's not on. You know, I will still give RTD. I'm not going to say the benefit of the doubt, because I don't. That's gone out the window. But I'm going to give him a chance to prove to me that everything that he's done is in the best interest of Doctor Who. And the only way I'll find out is, as I said, is tune in and watch. I'm not going to jump the gun and judge right now. But Chris's video did open my eyes, and it did give me that different perspective. Do you want to actually see? Have you seen the video, Charlotte?
Yeah, I've watched it.
Right. What do you want to give an? I don't want to drag you into this, but do you want to actually give an opinion on the video? What did you think of this video?
I think it showed that there is definitely some politics. I'll put it that way. There is some politics, but it's not unique to Doctor Who. It shows that there's some politics being played here when it comes to casting. I think you can't deny that now. But like you said, I'm still very much of the opinion that yes, there's politics, but that doesn't mean that he can't be casting at the same time very good actors and actresses.
And the only way we'll find out is when we actually watch it. And I don't think, again, you know, Chris does have his own views, you know what I mean? And it's because of his experience in the fandom as well. And he has seen all of this, and he's called a lot of this right from the beginning, even at the start of the Whittaker Chibnall era. So, I mean, you know, it seems that his return has ruffled a few feathers. But as I said, even though I'm still giving RTD a chance, Chris made some really, really valid points and fleshed it all out. And there's no denying that the latest castings especially, and you could even argue from Shooty onwards, right? Or, I mean, he brings back David Tennant and Catherine Tate, fine. And then from then on, it seems to be, well, is the casting done because Shooty was the best, or is it a politically motivated casting? And the same with all the other castings since. But the thing about this is some people have a problem with the fact that Chris has pointed this out, but I think he was right to point this out. As I said, my opinion somewhat hasn't changed, that I'm still going to give RTD a go, but I'm glad Chris highlighted it because, you know, it is the elephant in the room. Is RTD being politically motivated here, or are his castings truly based off the talent of each individual that he has cast. Now, we hope that that's the case, right? But right now, because we don't know, people are entitled to do their videos and speculate and give it from their point of view. So, you know, while some people are angry at him and have thrown their toys out of the pram because they don't like that he's come back, as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad he did that video, to be quite honest with you. I think he is a voice that has been missing in the fandom because he does get that unique perspective and look at things. And I think it's been sorely missed in this fandom, to be quite honest with you. And I'm glad that he put it out there. Now,
Yeah,
go ahead, Charlotte.
The biggest thing that I took from it, and this is something I've personally seen, obviously probably not as much as others because I'm not on social media as much as others, but you cannot deny, even if you don't want to talk about the casting stuff, that because of certain castings, certain elements have come back into this fandom that were very prevalent during Jodie's run, because they are seeing possibly, like, we don't know yet, that's all we can all say, but they're seeing possibly just a different group is going to now be the focus of representation. So they have come back in the fandom. They are back to calling people ists and phobes. They are back to telling people to get out the fandom.
Yeah.
They are back to calling names. And that is something that you cannot deny. Like the castings, we have to wait and see. But you cannot deny the impact that it has had on fandom. That we're back to a very ugly stage again, and we've not even seen an episode.
Yeah.
And Chris also highlighted that in his video, which also I've got a feeling maybe that's what certain people don't like.
I think that's it. I think there's an uncomfortable truth being told, and I think some people, you know, are an uncomfortable perspective being put out there, and it's rubbed some people up the wrong way. At the end of the day, as I said, I've always been, as soon as RTD was announced, I've been clear on this. We have lost a few people that used to watch the channel quite a lot because, you know, they see they from the beginning have seen it at, oh, it's more of the same. Whereas I've been a lot more open and willing to give RTD a go because of the fact that he proved the Jordan's force there, and I've been very personal about it. The show came back in 2005, a nice time. I was at a low ebb in my life. So, you know, I was delighted to have Doctor Who back. So I'll give it a go. But interesting video and opened a lot of people's eyes, I have to say. I think that's the one thing that the other side are kind of mad about now, is that someone has actually, like, said, well, look at this now. What do you guys basically think? He's given his opinion on it too. And when you look at it, you know, there are questions that are rightly being asked. And the only way that they'll be answered is when we either get more details on these characters or, obviously, as I said, when we see them on TV. So we'll see. Right, we'll leave it there. Unless PD wants to give an opinion on it, we'll move on to the episode and get going because we're 20 minutes in. Do you want to give your opinion on it real quickly?
Very quickly, yes. I can understand why people are getting wound up by all this casting, rumours. But as I said, it hasn't been shown yet, so we can't judge it until we've seen it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just think it's being a bit not being careful. I've got to be more careful, Russell. No one
I mean, Doomsday kind of set all of this off.
Oh yeah, that was nasty.
And now it just, that's what I mean. That's why I think that video was good because, you know, even though I kind of knew these things were happening, I was just so hyper focused on. I know RTD will, you know, saying to myself, RTD will deliver. But the fact is that, you know, deep down, I don't actually know, you know, and I'll just have to wait and see. But as I said, videos like Chris, the one that Chris done, I think is important. I think the fact that it's ruffled a few feathers says all you need to know, right, is that he's on the money. Because they only ever react when someone's on the money. They know, because then they react, and they react in a negative way. So we'll see what happens. As I said, we're still months away. So
We haven't even got a proper trailer yet. That's what's
and we haven't even got a
frustrating.
proper trailer yet,
Yeah.
and that'll be the first indication. Well, we'll get a proper trailer for the 60th, and I don't think we'll actually see the trailer for the Shooty era until the very end, the last episode of the 60th specials, and that's it. Or maybe the Christmas special.
Yeah. The
And then
60th
we'll
reveal all, I think.
Then Christmas Day we'll get that trailer, and everybody be probably on, or some people be in bed because it was a long day. But there'll be streams over the Christmas period, people reacting to the trailer, analysing it, dissecting it. You know, they all do it, you know. And I will give the other side one thing. They do know how to dissect an old trailer. They're very good at that, the freeze framing and all that crap. I'm getting better at that now. So that's what we'll do when the trailer comes out Christmas. I will download it and then I will freeze frame the shots that are of interest or things that we missed because the trailer goes so fast. So that's what I'll do. But let's get into this anyway. We're on Peter Capaldi, Series 9, folks, and it's episode. I forgot to put the episode number up.
PD,
Sorry,
can you remember?
It's episode. It's episode. Hold on, I have it here. 7. It's episode 7 because I think episode 6. Hold on, just to double check. Episode 6. No, it's not episode 7. It's episode 8, isn't it?
9 if you include Last Christmas.
No, see, I'm getting confused now. Wait. Just wait. It comes up on my screen. No, it's episode, So it's episode 9.
Yeah. We include Last
Got there
Christmas.
eventually. Episode 8/9, folks.
Yeah, 8/9. Depends where you're watching it. Yeah. Right. So let's see if there's still no. Oh, there is a few people in the chat. Right. TARDIS time is in the chat. Yeah. So he didn't know that Chris was back. Well, don't worry. I think he's going to be here on Friday. So we'll keep reminding you that he's back anyway. He's reactivated his old Twitter account as well because he'll deal with the stuff on that. On the one that everybody's following him on now, he'd still be doing his horror stuff and no drama on that. So if you want to follow him on his other account, it's the original Ballstrek account is up and running again. And he's kind of semi-rebranded his channel as well. It's Cultivated Media. Cultivated Media Inc. Balls or Cultivated Media Ballstrek or something like that. He's and he has his little cartoon, his little drawn stick man as the YouTube avatar. Deadly. Anyway, let's so if everybody's ready in the chat, our TARDIS time is ready. Just press 1 there so we can do the countdown. And we'll get this episode on the go. And I knew that was going to happen, so I'll just do that real quickly so it doesn't happen when we do the countdown. It'd be great to keep it on pause. On why did I big screen it already? I'm being a bit of an idiot here. Don't worry, I have a sussed. Right. Thank you. I'll give it a go. Give it a watch. Oh, he's probably off watching Chris's video. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Without further ado, Queen Charlotte, you can do the countdown. We are on live on Twitter as well. So if you're on Twitter, hello. And for everybody that's watching on YouTube and Facebook, hello. Come on into the chat, say hello. So yeah, go ahead, Queen Charlotte.
Yep. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, she just got Zygon. Osgood, Zygon, Osgood.
Oh yeah, they did the recap, don't they?
Here's the thing: were they really using American actors? Because there was just something weird about them when they were on Doctor Who's. Like, is it their American accent was more exaggerated or something?
It was a mixture. I think they had some Brits being Americans and some actual Americans. I can't remember. Because in the Matt one, in the Impossible Astronaut, that's a British actor because he's quite famous British actor. But obviously, he can do a good American accent, so he had
Yeah.
an American accent.
His father's been in so much sci-fi, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
So he was a Brit, being a very convincing American.
Do, 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 do.
We get our cliffhanger resolution.
The music is very creepy in this one.
Yeah.
Mm. You can tell when Moffat was in his comfort zone almost by the music in an episode.
Yeah.
It's like, if it's creepy, or if it's horror, or if it's anything like that, the music, it was his better writing.
It's just mad how inconsistent he was, because when he was on it, he was actually on it. No, you shouldn't have told him that.
Yeah.
One thing about this doctor is he tells
You don't threaten his friends.
yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
Especially Clara at this point. It's like the one thing you do not do to Peter's doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, I never really liked that saying. It's a bit ridiculous.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not being funny, right? But Clara, there's no way. I'm sorry, right? There's no way Clara would be able to rocket launch at an aeroplane. She'd be blown right back. And I know it's a Zygon, but still, it's a Zygon as her. There's no way, man. Come on.
Like you said, it's not so much of the strength, because a Zygon probably would have the strength to not get the knockback. It's the technique and being able to actually just fire one, like you said.
I mean, how would a Zygon know how to like shoot a human weapon that easy as well? But that is, oh, look at that. That is, though,
it's a
I
good
will say
effect.
the plane blowing up was a great effect, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is a great story, I have to say. This is, that's a little nitpick. I'm not going to, like, take any point. It is a bit stupid, but I mean, Gwen was the same as well. But it's one of my favourite scenes in Torchwood, where in Miracle Day, even though it went downhill after that scene, but the scene where she gets the rocket launcher and she blows up the helicopter.
Yeah. And I thought that the scene when they're on like the driving, they're in like a Land Rover, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, she's doing it, and I'm just like, no, I don't care if you've been in torture.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's far-fetched and it wouldn't work, but do you know what? I was like, I do love it. So, I mean, I just don't know. Maybe I just hated Clara at that stage, man, that she did. I was just, no.
Season 3 underpass.
But in fairness, she's actually good in this. She actually does shine in this. So I have to be honest. This is probably some of our best stuff coming up now. This two-parter, and then we got the Face of the Raven, and then Heaven Sent, and then
she's not really in that though. So yeah, this and Face the Raven is probably some of her best acting.
Yeah, I do like face that this 3-part class as a 3-parter coming up now is actually brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, 2 parts are out of the 3.
Shame we got
The
sucked
last
no
part.
more in the meantime.
Hellbent is a bit. We'll get to Hellbent. We might have a different opinion, but I doubt it. But let's just say some Doctor Who fans are very divided on Hellbent.
Yeah, and that's what's funny. Like, that's one of the few things that hasn't changed in the fandom, but you still get that the same groups who either hate it or love it. Like, that's
like
not one that
most of
has shifted at all in the fandom when it comes to perspective. To be fair, I think this is a good showing for Kate's actress as well. I think.
Yeah, I know some people don't like Kate Stewart, but I honestly don't. You know, I don't know. Moffat has been very inconsistent with her. I have to be honest. But we'll see if this rumored series that she's getting. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. Is it going to be like aimed at the family? Is it going to be aimed at kids? Is it going to be aimed at a more adult audience? If it's a more adult audience, then I think that would be great for her because she'll be able to actually showcase her acting ability, because I do not think she's been utilized enough. Oh, I forgot that. You had to go out with the balloons. You got out with the balloons.
I think the thing is with Kate, it's actress, because I've seen her in other things now. Her baseline acting is quite flat, and I'm not saying that to say it's bad. It's just a bit of a flatter, natural delivery when she speaks. So if she's doing a lot of that in an episode, she can come across as quite bland, but that's just her style of acting. So when she gets a bit emotional, you see a very different actress.
Osgood, I mean, again, she's one of those characters that kind of divides the fandom. I think, again, that Stephen Moffat didn't utilize this character enough. I think the actress is brilliant. You know, if you are really clever, if RTD is actually, you know, serious about spin-offs and wants to do them properly, you know, I'd get her involved in some spin-off.
She'll probably be in the unit one. I'd be very surprised if she isn't.
Yeah.
Well, if she is, brilliant, and if they do it properly, good. But again, all of this is open to debate right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because
you went on such a great run. I mean, what the hell?
I was going to say, because Osgood in some of the spin-off games we've had and like the mobile games, she's basically unit in most of the games that I've seen people play a bit of. So I'd be very surprised if she isn't in the spin-off. She's almost become like the sort of the head, not the head because that's still Kate, but the contact for unit for a lot of people now in the fandom when they think of her.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the games, like that Weeping Angel game, you basically spoke to her on your phone, like it was that sort of setup. See, you've got to give credit for the dialogue in this. It's such a fine line, and I forgot until I watched it again how much of a fine line this dialogue had to tread. Because we know what he's talking about, but he has to be very careful with how he talks about it.
But again, shows that if you're somewhat a clever writer, you're able to navigate those stories, and if you're trying to make a point as well,
which is what he's trying to do
within the Doctor Who universe, and you do it like this, this is what we're talking about as well when we talk about politics. We know these 2 episodes are highly politicized, but look how they're done. This is what we've been arguing. We don't really give a crap about the politics that are in Doctor Who. It's how you get them across is the issue that we have. It's so on the nose now.
Well, I think these episodes reminded me you can sometimes be a bit on the nose still, but the difference is in these 2 episodes, Moffat comes across to me as he's not trying to vilify anybody. He's not trying to have a go at any one group. He's doing what we've always said, which is you need to look at both sides.
Yeah.
He's got the radical aspect with Bonnie and her group of Zygons. You've got the Zygons who just want to live their life, and you really see that in this episode.
Yeah.
And then you've got the human perspective. So you've got loads of different perspectives all circling the same issue. And not one of them, I think, is really made out to be the complete and utter villain in this.
I'd agree with that.
And that's what he's doing in this. And like I said, the dialogue, the language about the themes of being isolated and then being radicalized, and then all these terms that have got such a close, that's what I mean by on the nose at times. Because those terms are really linked to modern day and modern day issues. Because you hear them constantly in the news. You hear them constantly be used by politicians in real world. So he's using every actual, at times, pointed language. But it's all about the intent of him using that pointed language. And like the build-up all to that speech when we get to it.
Side Jella. Side Jella.
It was this is very clever by Moffat. This is why there's some aspects of his writing that are just, he's just a genius. It's just, I don't know how he's inconsistent, man. He just baffles me.
Yeah, I think he took too much on in the season 10.
He definitely did when he started doing Sherlock as well, man.
Yeah. You can only do so much, and he overdid it.
It's like logically, he could have just been like a guest writer on Sherlock and had Mark run the show, which would have worked.
Yeah.
But he loved the property, he loved Sherlock Holmes too much. He would never just be like a couple of episode writer on that. He'd want to be involved. He'd want to be heading it.
Yeah. I quite liked his Dracula as well.
See, I heard mixed things, so I've never got around to watching it.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't brilliant.
See,
but it's Dracula again.
That's the thing. I love the original book, so I'd probably not be able to divorce my love for the original material.
Yeah. It was just a modern retelling of Dracula. It was quite good. You know where it is, Doctor. You were there in season 3. The same bloody underpass you're always at.
It's always that underpass.
And that shopping centre. Always that underpass and that shopping centre.
Well, with
what?
budgets now, man, they can actually go to proper. Well, I know they went
They'll
to
just rebuild
locations,
it.
but now they'll be able to go to remote locations now where fans
Yeah.
won't be able to get at as
Yeah.
well now, which would
Well,
be
they
great.
must. That's the thing. They must have done a hell of a lot of that for the 60th because we hardly know anything about that.
Exactly.
Still, so they must have done a lot of either indoor filming or, like you said, got actual locations that
I
people
actually
can get
like
to.
that. I actually like that now that it's tightened up that much, and I hope it continues that. You know, we only get little snippets, but I will say, you know, some of the leaks that are generated are deliberately generated as well. So, like, I mean, we always get something, so can't wait. But there's Smug Clara now.
Yeah.
Ah, Smug Clara, Jesus Christ, man! Right, we get it. You got the better of the Zygon. Brilliant.
But she gets the better of her quite quickly afterwards.
Yeah. Another super fucking Ray.
I know. That's the problem with Clara.
Nah, should have went with Victorian Clara.
Yeah, definitely. Huh.
So I do quite like, though, there's almost a different voice she has when she's Bonnie. It's you can still tell it's Clara's voice, but it's different, and I like that. It's this more.
I do like when she plays the. I have to say, I like her playing the Zygon. I actually liked her playing the Zygon. She played it very well.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. It's like she's got this
London,
ultimate
back in Cardiff.
But what I love about the voice, it's like this sort of cold voice. It's controlled until like she gets literally, and that doesn't stop until right near the end when the Doctor completely puts a mirror up to her. Like, she almost reminds me of an old-fashioned Bond villain, the way she speaks.
We used to have shopping centres like that in housing estates, in the middle of housing estates. Like 1-tier shopping centres, all one floor, maybe a second floor if you were lucky. But it always looked crap on the outside, real old-fashioned on the inside. But always the best places to go for your food because you get some lovely bits of meat and all of that, man. Seriously, man, best places to shop. Forget about all of those big uptown places. You find a good place in a council estate, a shopping centre, and a housing estate. Best place to go. Not a word of a lie.
Yeah.
Truth or consequences.
Everyone has access to it.
Uh-oh. See, she plays that well, man. And people forget, like, she's literally talking to nothing.
Yeah.
She's probably in front of a green screen. Or, well, maybe there probably is someone there. Like, but you know what I mean? It's brilliant. She is actually, Jenna Coleman is a great actress.
Yeah.
No, there's a reason she's making it now in, like, American stuff.
Yeah, she's brilliant, man. She is. She was brilliant in Titanic because she doesn't even have a major role in that. But that TV show, being honest, I watched Emmerdale when she was in it at the time, years back when I used to actually have interest in the soaps.
Yeah.
So I knew she was a great actress. And she did have a decent start in Doctor Who. I just don't think Moffat, like with Peter Capaldi's Doctor, just didn't know what he wanted to do with her.
No, like if you compare her dynamic and her doctor to like Matt and Amy, like you can see very clearly he knew exactly what the 11th Doctor was going to be to Amy and vice versa. He was make-believe, he was the imaginary friend. Whereas with Peter, it was like, what is it, like a hangover boyfriend thing? Or is it like a stern teacher-student thing? Or is it something else? It was like, what's the dynamic here?
Yeah, because some people will argue that they did have romantic feelings for others. I disagree with that personally, but there are some fans. There's some fans, obviously, like myself, who don't see it. Saw her more as, not even a teacher-student relationship. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think that's why there's so much confusion about their relationship, because it wasn't really defined. Where
No, it
with
wasn't like a
Christopher
best
Eccleston,
friend
it
thing.
was. With David Tennant, it was established. You know what I mean? Then obviously when Rose left, we had obviously Friedman come into the role, and you seen the way he treated feckin' Martha Jones, right? So that was established. And then, Catherine Tate comes along, it's established our buddies. I think this is the only one, even with Matt Smith, with Amy Pond, you got that relationship. She wanted a little bit more at the start, but then, he talked some sense into her. Then they became a family, literally a family. Well, they were a family, but you know what I mean? They became a family in front of our eyes. So that was defined. But then when you get to Peter Capaldi, the only companion that was defined was Pearl Mackie.
Because it was very much back to teacher-student at that point.
Whereas with Clara and the Doctor, you could get their dynamic with Matt Smith, but it was less. You didn't know what the dynamic was. At first, she didn't like the fact that he changed, and we kind of understood that to a certain extent, but at the same time, like the cheeky, he's still the same bloke, like, you're willing to abandon him until Matt's doctor actually rings it and says, look, that is me. So the relationship, you don't know what it is, because you see what she does to him. She manipulates him. The TARDIS keys. When she lost Danny, she blames him, but it's her reckless behavior.
Exactly.
Because she never told Danny. She lied to Danny, but because she knew she was guilty, she was thrown at Peter's doctor. But again, you can't, you don't kind of blame Clara for that in certain aspects of it.
Yeah, I do.
But, when she's written the way she's written, and she just comes across as arrogant and reckless, and then try to become the doctor, you don't have that sympathy when she loses Danny. And then you're kind of like, well, get over yourself, love. It's your fault. This poor Zygon.
You do feel so sorry for her.
Yeah, you do.
And that's what I mean. That this is the other bit of the argument he's showing here. Basically, he's doing the argument of you will always have innocence in the crossfire when you get these radical elements.
Yeah.
That they will literally use their own people. They don't care about them anymore. And this is what he's showing. But like you said, it's through a complete and utter Doctor Who lens.
Yeah.
But think about what the subtext here is. It's very clear what the subtext is.
Yeah.
So unmask everybody. So the ones that can't live with themselves will kill themselves, whereas the rest that can live on them will turn on the human race and try take over the planet.
Well, it's more just they want to make a big event or statement.
Yeah.
So they know the best way to do that is to play on human fear.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what they're doing. They're playing on humans' fear. So they're making them see them Because also they know in modern day it's going to go viral, it's going to go on the news. So that's what I mean. It's all tactics that we very much have seen in the real world.
Yeah.
The
Some of these
Zygon
are
pods
good.
are deadly design, actually. I like that. Reminds me a bit like Alien, a cross between
Yeah.
Alien and. I
They were
like it.
xenomorph quality.
In fairness, Moffat was it kind of got an annoying trope sometimes, but he used to always kind of pay homage to obviously his favorite franchises growing up, and this is definitely a bit of a
Yeah.
homage to Alien when you look at
Yeah,
those Zygon pods.
and a bit of the body snatchers,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the obvious stuff with Zygons.
So
Better
he's
than
an
Last
Alien
Christmas,
fan.
though.
He's
Yeah.
an Alien fan. So Moffat is an Alien fan. So as I said, rewatching these era again has been a bit of an eye opener. I've had different perspective on certain episodes. But still, I will say this though. While I've enjoyed his era a lot more this time around, there are clearly a lot of flaws. And there's way too many to mention. But when he's on
Two
it,
boxes.
he is on it. And this is it now coming up now shortly. And this is why he's on it. This is why Moffat is a genius.
I think coming up, this is like the perfect example of when you get an actor who's just right at the right time, giving a performance of their life with the writing to match it. Like, I can't think of that's what this is coming up.
Yeah.
And I will say this credit goes to Jenna Coleman in this scene as well, though, because this doesn't work without her. I have to be honest.
No,
Yeah,
not at
Peter's
all.
speech is amazing, but this.
Well, yeah, it's basically her naivety, her character's naivety that gets Peter going.
Yeah.
And her sort of viciousness is that weird mixture of she's almost comes across as so high and mighty and like, what do you know? That's what gets the Doctor's back up.
Yeah.
So she had to deliver that line with this venom and this sort of still, like I said, that edge of, God, you're just a bit naive, aren't you? You don't know exactly what you're saying. Especially as you think about how NuWho has treated the Time War. Nearly every race pretty much at this point knows the Time War and knows what the Time Lords did. They might not all know what the Doctor did, but they definitely know what his people were responsible for. So it shows her sort of innocence.
Yeah.
Seriously, Jenna's acting in this as well is brilliant. This is the next, as I said, the next few episodes for me is where she actually comes into her own. It's just such a pity that Moffat didn't utilize her in the right way.
No, he didn't.
And
Really
didn't write her a little bit more, less egotistical, less feckin' smug. And I think she would have been a great character.
Yeah.
And I think we would have genuinely felt for her when Danny Pink was taken away from her, because that was a horrible way to go. But again, another actor, in my opinion, that should have been given more of a role in the show. Danny Pink gets an awful lot of stick. The actor gets an awful lot of stick. The way his character was written as well. I disagree. I think he had a lot of potential. He's what he is, and I know he's not written great, but he's one of my favorite characters. And the whole thread where about his ancestors, when Clara and the Doctor go to that place and they meet one of his, I mean, why they didn't focus in on that as well?
Yeah, it went absolutely nowhere.
Would have been absolutely amazing. So I think that was a missed opportunity for that character there. Again, while Moffat's writing can be top of the line like it is here, there is certainly a lot of flaws, but I have enjoyed his era a lot more because you know what? yes, there's a lot of flaws, but are they really, really major things? Not particularly. I mean, characters can be badly written, but does it affect the overall story or the writing? Most of the time it doesn't, but some of the time it can. This is it now. I'm going to hurry this up because this is a great speech. This is some of the best fucking acting.
Yeah.
And your woman that plays Kate Stewart deserves her own spin-off. I know some people are sick of her, but I hope it's dark. I hope she knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
It's overdue. But if they're showing everything on Disney Plus, we know Doctor Who's being shown on Disney Plus, but we're not actually sure about spin-offs. But I don't know. I was thinking because they still have the HBO Max and Sony and all of that. I think they're all mixed in together anyway.
I know, but I can't see how they wouldn't want spin-offs as well as the main show.
That's what I'm saying. But you could have the main show on Disney Plus and maybe have the spin-offs on the other apps. But to me, that would be pure grid.
It's your fault.
Yeah. I just love Peter's acting in this.
Yeah. Very Monty Python.
Yeah. This is what I mean. He goes from like comedy to like gut wrenching pain within 2 minutes of each other. When he does the whole like, look what you gotta win, that sort of stuff. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Here it is. Exactly.
True.
So much of this, it's like it was almost like he was predicting, Moffat.
Yeah.
What our culture was going to become. It's spooky watching it back. Remember, I did it a couple of years ago. I didn't watch the whole episode. I just watched this speech.
Here it is now. She said the magic word war. Here we go.
Well, it's not that. It's when she says, "What do you know?"
Oh, yeah. That tips him over the edge, that line.
It's like you can see something just switches in his head and he's just like, right, I'm going to lay the law down at you.
Exactly. Tempted trialed.
You're all the same, you screaming kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The troublemakers.
Yeah.
Because he's thought ahead. That's the whole point of this speech. He's seen where this ends.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Perpetual war.
This is why this is genius by Moffat. Why he just couldn't be consistent on it is he does have excuses though, but sometimes I think he hid behind them.
So I've always had a sneaky feeling with this speech, and obviously there's no way to prove this. I've almost feel like Peter might have had a bit of input here.
Yeah.
Maybe Moffat wrote majority of it, but Peter might have had a bit of he might have had a look at it and put some ideas in.
Yeah, scale model of war, brilliant.
I love it. He's just bawling now in the best way.
Yeah.
He's just shouting. All the restraints have come off.
And he's really talking about Gallifrey. That's the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole line of when you fire that first shot, you have no idea who's going to get caught. Like, that's a soldier talking.
Yeah.
That's somebody who's been on the front line.
You will die, stupid. Someone has to draw the line in the sand, and this is why this is good. Same, this is great allegory for the troubles up in Belfast. You know, the North. You know, they were fighting each other time and time again. Then what happened? They eventually sat down around the table and
talked.
peace and talked.
Yeah.
Oh.
Problem with the culture is nobody will talk. Or one side refuses. Constantly.
Or like the speech is talking about, they're always looking for a revolution.
Yeah,
I think this is also the message here. And that's what makes me laugh when Jodie's era was being pointed with its speeches at times, and sort of the fourth wall breaking, as we refer to it as. And certain fans were saying, well, but the Zygon Inversion speech. And I was just like, no, that's not a comparison. Because the Doctor is actually talking about something from his own life experience.
Yeah.
That's the big factor here that makes this scene work. And why you cannot compare it to Jodie's Doctor, for example, having a go about climate change. Because that has not got any personal effect to her. Her Doctor has not personally gone through anything linked to that topic. You can't say, like, for example, Gallifrey got destroyed because of that. It got destroyed because of its own hubris.
Yeah.
Because of war. That's what destroyed Gallifrey.
Stupid
so
mistake.
If there's one topic the Doctor's going to be pointed about, and the Doctor would get emotional about, and he would be a bit more in your face, it's war. That's why this speech, you cannot compare it to anything Jodie's Doctor was going on about.
Yeah.
And yes, this speech is very pointed. It's in your face. That's the whole point of it. He's trying to convince Bonnie to stop. He's basically saying to her, look at me, I'm the old soldier telling a newbie, your precious revolution's not going to be what you think it is. Basically, I'm the worst example telling you don't want to be me. That's what the Doctor's doing here.
Yeah, I reckon the Time Lords did create an Anakin Skywalker paradox, as they call it, in the Urban Dictionary.
That's a new one. What's that?
You by trying to prevent what's going to happen, you actually sent it out by causing it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's a causality. It's not a causality loop. It's the other one.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
where
that's the one.
Mark Wahlberg's craft goes missing, but then the people go in after him. But then what happens is they go separate through different points in time. The ship lands hundreds of years before, and that's what created the race of intelligent monkeys on the planet. Then that the astronaut actually gets. Yeah, I know. It's just It's Tim Burton's that movie gets some stick. I have to say, I have a soft spot for it, but it's not the greatest. But it was a rather interesting twist at the end. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it's a contradiction paradox.
Would have been great. Just one adventure. Proper one. Someone's got to do it. He's acting all weird. Look.
Yeah.
Because it's odd, because I was just thinking, I think Peter's Doctor was the only New Who Doctor that didn't have like two companions.
Yeah.
Because Matt had Amy and Rory. Christopher Eccleston had Jack and Rose. Tennant kept one companion, didn't he?
Yeah, it's only in whatchamacallit. I had like 3 or 4.
Yeah, Martha didn't really get a second companion on her run, and Rose didn't.
Yeah.
And Donna, yeah, no, I thought he was the only one, Peter. Then no, Tennant also didn't have the 3.
Had Mickey for a little while, but there's a few.
Yeah, but that didn't really count, did it?
Not really.
So which one is the Zygon? The one with the sellotape on the glasses, or the one without the sellotape on the glasses?
That's
the one without.
Point.
Because he did that deliberately, Moffat. Like he did, you know what I mean? That scene's deliberate.
Oh yeah, to make you think which one's the real one.
Huh.
No, it's this Sleep No More or something.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a good one.
I can't remember this one that well, because I think at this point I'd fully fallen out of love with the show. I can remember the premise a bit, I just can't remember watching it properly, if that makes sense. Because at this point, I think I was just thoroughly fed up of
Yeah.
just
Well,
nothing.
we will be here next week to do that. I'm pretty sure it's a decent one, actually, to be quite honest with you. I always get it mixed up with the oxygen one. But
Yeah, because he did a few that were sort of same,
yeah,
similar, sort of almost look villain, didn't he?
Yeah.
be interesting. But right, let's get into this because normally we're finished about now, but because I had a 20-minute bleeding talk at the start, we're a bit over time, so we'll get into it. So obviously we didn't rate the Zygon invasion. So what's happening here now is we're given our rating for both episodes out of 10. Not separately, but both episodes will be judged as one story out of 10. That makes more sense. Should have put it that way in the first place. But there you go. So we will start off with Queen Charlotte.
Yeah, no, I think you have to just set this up as this is a very political story. It was very much of its time when this story was coming out because of the issues we had in the country of immigration, of terror attacks, of all those things that were going on. And this story, you can tell it's Moffat's way to almost counter or react to what was going on. But like we've all said, it's always kept in the confines of the Doctor Who universe. So we picked a really good alien for this, which is the Zygons, because they've got that idea to copy. So then you can talk about themes of identity, of otherness, of, especially in this story, what would happen if a certain element with a very violent tendency tried to take over because of treatment that they were given or what they perceived they deserved. And it's sort of those topics which you can apply to lots of groups, but he was sort of clever enough to know I'm going to keep this in Doctor Who universe. And I think about 95% of the time, I think he gets this very right with how he deals with it. The language is very correct. And I can say as somebody who has had to have certain training and certain work around these topics, I can tell you that it's those language, those types of words are very much used and they are very much part and parcel. So for some, it might come across as pointed and in your face, but actually this is one of the times that works. It needs to be that because he couldn't shy away from this topic if he was tackling it. And that's what I do give a lot of kudos here. He didn't sort of do I'll do it, but meekly mannered. He took it by the throat and sort of really wrestled with it. And I think you see that with how Bonnie's characterized. I think she's both characterized as this horrible individual, this villainous character, which doesn't care about her own people, will happily use them or destroy them or make their lives miserable with the revealing of them all to the general public. But you can see in her head, it's for a cause. It's for the right reasons. And it's hard to portray that on any telly show, let alone you're still having to always have this thing of it's sci-fi, it's Doctor Who, it's Zygons. But it's dealt with. And I think the way that they take over and how efficient it is also is really clever. And it's sort of, think about it, by the point of the second episode, they've wiped out a lot of unit. They've really almost got what they want. And I think that's on purpose, because I think in order for the Doctor's speech to work, they need to be on the cusp of winning, because the Doctor says that. He goes, you're nearly there. You're nearly won, but really think about what you're winning here. And I think also Moffat knew that this would really heavily impact the Doctor because of his history. And he knew that the Doctor, instead of giving just a grandiose speech to be grandiose, which is what the Doctor can be guilty of sometimes, no, it's a speech from the heart. It's a speech from pain. It's a speech from somebody who has gone through so much with his own people, and he's seen another race make the same mistakes, and he just has to try and stop them, and he has to try and divert the course that they're going. And like I said, yes, the Zygon speech is very pointed. I've used that word, but it's very true before. It's on the nose. It doesn't mess around. But like I said, the Doctor's a war veteran. The Doctor is responsible at this point for almost wiping out his whole planet. So he's got plenty of experience with thinking I'm in the right when actually he's in the wrong. And that's what this Bonnie is. He's almost seeing a mirror, I think, a little bit here of himself. And he's thinking, I've got this opportunity to stop it. And just Peter's performance, and I think the bits when he's almost crying, and you can hear that in his voice, and certain lines are so wobbly delivered because it's got him so wet up. And they're just, like I said, I've got this funny feeling Peter might have contributed here because of the way he delivers those lines. Like there's certain lines now that I can just deliver, I can remember. Like when he talks about, do you know what you do with that pain? You hold it and you keep it tight. And then that's the Doctor. That's the Doctor without telling you, this is why I do what I do. The line about when you fire that first shot, you never know. Because that can, and what the speech works because it's the Doctor being very personal, but he's saying it in a way that anybody could relate to. Anybody can understand what he's saying, but it's from such a personal place. And like you said, the lines about screaming kids and what you're going to do with the people like you. Like this idea of everybody wins for a bit, but you never win for long. You're always going to have rebels. You're always going to have this upstart group in every community and society that thinks they're the ones in the right, and that's what he's talking about. So the only thing is that I can really criticize is more like is this theme again, which is, of course, because it's so close to the real world, there will be occasions where you can't just talk at first. That isn't a solution. Sometimes other things have to happen before you can get to it. But obviously in fiction, you don't have to think about that too much. And I'm not saying it isn't the right message here. I'm just saying the only real criticism I can say is because it's so close to the real world, obviously this solution doesn't apply to everything in the real world. So that's my only real criticism. So probably give this a 9, like I said. That's the only tiny little nitpick I can give it. So yeah, 9 out of 10.
That's a very good score. PD?
Yeah, I can agree with a lot of what Charlotte was saying about
Same
this
here,
one.
yeah.
It's a very good episode, this one, but I don't think it's absolutely 100% brilliant. But I just think there's a few little niggles and a few little nitpicks at it. But Moffat does write a crisis very well in this episode. It's a good horror movie episode as well, as you were saying. We're looking at the Zygon pods. It's just, I as well as Charlotte, I'm going to give it a 9. I don't think it's the best episode of the season because we know what that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where you could see where his writing is superior, and then you could see, throws in the old tropes. At this stage, he did love to homage nearly bleeding everything.
Yeah.
And I think Charlotte makes the more interesting point there, though. I think kind of by the time we got to that stage of Moffat's era, when we were watching back in the day, we were actually done at that stage, kind of like, it was like, it's more the same. I will leave it out now at this stage. Come on, like, but then, obviously, from maybe not next week's episode, because I'm kind of like you, I kind of remember it, but I'll have to go and watch it again now because it's I don't remember it, if you know what I mean. Like I remember it, but don't remember it. Yeah. But I do know that, Face of the Raven and Heaven Sent are two of the best written, in my opinion, episodes of Moffat's reign are coming up. Absolutely fantastic. But look, I'm going to be fair here as well. I think, there are a few nitpicks in this story, but that's not enough for me really to absolutely give this a low score. If I would have reviewed this back in the day, I probably would have gave this a 4 or a 5 because at that stage I was kind of, I think Heaven Sent after that episode, well, Face of the Raven and Heaven Sent kind of renewed me. I thought, oh, he's back on top form again.
But then we got Hellbent.
But then we get Hellbent, and then it's back. It was up and down with Moffat. That's why I think I got a little bit angry.
Yeah.
Well, I'm with everybody on the panel. It is a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
But it is a 9 out of 10. The two episodes, one story. It is fleshed out really well. Again, you can see the different sides of this. The Zygons that just want to live a normal life, and then you've got Bonnie who thinks the Zygons are being forced and she wants to take over, and she's had enough. She thinks they're being oppressed. And then you have Pete, the side of it, where he knows exactly where this is all gone because he's witnessed it before. But yeah, this is pretty solid. And we don't really say that too often on Moffat's episodes. They're a bit of a mixed bag on the panel. But I think tonight we're all in agreement. It's a steady story, decent story. It's not anything mind blowing. We've seen these tropes being done before by Moffat, which I think is another factor why people were getting a bit bored with Moffat, because it seemed to be the same kind of situation but different setting.
Yeah, the same sort of invasion, wasn't it?
Yeah,
at the time.
Yeah, because remember we get the monks. Remember the monks in season 10. With Bill Potts, so he does it again there, and that suffers quite a lot. I remember at the time, but I can't wait to watch that 3-parter again, because that's actually a 3-part story. I can't wait to watch that again to see actually is it as flawed as I remember, or because it's fleshed out over 3 is actually a great story, but we've just again, because we were sticking Moffat at this stage, did we overreact, as they say? Well, look, I think we've been fair. I think the panel throughout this whole run been very fair on these since we started this. So it's we'll see what happens next week. But what we'll do now is we won't hang around too long now. So what I'll do is I'll get the panelists to do their usual channel shout outs, and we'll wrap it up then after that. So we'll start again with Queen Charlotte.
Yep, so you will see me on the Facebook. We're on a little mini break of our Type 40 Live shows over Easter, so we'll be back in a couple of weeks usually. But there's still podcasts going up with Dan and co, and then little videos. He's going to do extras if any news that comes out that he thinks we should have a chat about. You'll see us who can appear on those, so you'll keep an eye out for that, and you'll catch me here on NuWho and Chill Zones.
Yeah, which the first one starts obviously this Wednesday, because last Wednesday we got distracted by all of the Jinx Monsoon rubbish and all of that other stuff.
We all got jinxed.
So, hopefully if RTD doesn't drop any more casting bombs on us, we'll be doing the Chill Zone. If not, myself, Charlotte, and whoever else is on the panel with us, I think PD and Real Super Doctor, and we will discuss whatever pops up, if anything does pop up. If not, what we'll be doing is I'll just get the guests come on and talk about stuff that they wouldn't normally talk about on the channel. If there's any TV shows they want to recommend out there, and we'll just basically, it's going to be a chill chat. So like sitting down with your mates, cup of tea, and we'll talk about almost
just talking about random rubbish,
just random stuff. So that's every Wednesday, and then on Thursday, as I said, no, I've got my timetable wrong. So hold on. Monday, New Who. Tuesday, oh yeah, I left out Tuesday. That's why I'm confused. Tuesday is the movie zone. So come and join me for the movie zone. We start off our James Bond season with Dr. No. Sean Connery's first James Bond movie. So come and join that. But then next week, because we'll be taking 1 week off, because I did promise Jack that we do Alien versus Predator, the extended cut. So we're going to watch the extended cut and do that, because I did promise him we'd watch that, because I have a soft spot for that movie and he actually likes that movie. So I thought it'd be a good idea that the two of us come on and do that. And then the week after, then we will continue our James Bond marathon, and we're going to go all the way through. We will debate whether we do after Roger Moore. We'll debate whether we do the rest of them, because people will see how far we can actually take this before people get sick of James Bond. But that's what we're going to be doing on Tuesdays. Then on Wednesdays, the Chill Zone, as we said. Thursday then is the preview to Friday Night Contact, where I'll be giving me opinions on some of the articles that we'll be covering. Not all, because then obviously there's no point going live on Fridays. But obviously on Fridays, I ask the lads the questions, so don't really give me opinion on Friday nights anymore. As you've noticed, I've been asking a lot of questions, and that's the way I want to do it. So if you want to hear my opinion, then if you're a member on Thursdays, you will hear what I have to say about some of the stuff that we're going to be covering. And we've got some juicy stuff coming up. Some positive stuff as well, actually. Some Hollywood positive news around Super Mario, and even talks of a sequel already, which is some great news if you're a Super Mario fan. Haven't seen the movie yet, but I've seen that the critics hate it and the fans love it. So if the fans love it and the critics hate it, it's good, folks. Right? Because it's the fans that you believe now. Critics have lost all credibility. They've lost all credibility during this culture war. They're all a bunch of shill activists, right? Look at all the journalists that write all these articles. You go on their profiles, right, and they're activists. They have it in their bio, right? They're not activists first and then journalists. You know what I mean? So we don't.
Plus, I legitimately believe there's a bit of anti-Japan happening when it comes to reviews of this movie.
Well, I haven't seen that, to be quite honest, because I've been trying to stay away. But the critic that kind of upset everybody was Grace Randolph, when she said that, you know, that the Me Too movement wouldn't like it because she couldn't understand Bowser's obsession with Princess Peach. Tell people that you've never watched or never played a Super Mario game without telling people you've actually.
But that's what I mean. Anti-Japan, as in they don't understand the culture and the games the country these games have come from. It's very different values, very different storytelling.
By the way, before we do wrap up, actually,
and PD has to do his plug.
Yeah. So BBC put out an article on their official website. And I'm going to read you the headline of this article, and then I'm going to read you my response, because my response has actually garnered a bit of attention, right? So hold on. We'll bring that up on Friday. I don't want to bring that up on this stream because this is Doctor Who. But yes, we've got to talk about the recent video of your man, the Dalai Lama, shoving his tongue down a kid's throat. I mean, what's the world come to when a holy man is doing that shit? Anyway, where's this post? How is it all the way down here, man? Do I really post that much? I need to actually stop posting on Twitter then. Here it is. So BBC, their website, and on the culture section have a headline, right? And this is why we should actually, we listen to Chris's video, and then when I hear things coming out from the BBC like this, it's not really doing me any favors, to be quite honest. But this is what they said. So this was their film review, and this is the headline: the Super Mario Bros. Movie review, lazy and for fans only.
Yeah, that's what they hate, that this is for the fans, this movie.
Yeah.
So I responded, and I actually tagged Bad Wolf TV in it. I haven't seen if they've blocked me, but this is what I wrote. This is why Doctor Who isn't a success, and why this is making bank. There is no lesson. There is a lesson here for Bad Wolf TV. You make a show that is for fans, and if it's good enough, it will attract new fans. You never chase or pander for new fans. It's why it will fail. One chance to deliver, just one. And I did tag Bad Wolf TV in that, and I'm serious. They have one chance to deliver. Now, if this is the whole attitude of the BBC, that it's lazy because it's for fans only. Listen for a minute, right? I'm going to tell you idiots something, right? Once and for all, right? This is the bottom line, right? If your show is written well enough, right? It has decent characters that you can get behind, right? A good plot, right? Bit of mystery, bit of sci-fi, like what Doctor Who is supposed to have, right? Trust me, right? Not only will Doctor Who fans watch, casual fans will watch. Now, how can I back that statement up? Well, I can back it up when RTD came and took the reins the first time in 2005. Not only was he able to bring some classic fans with him on this journey, he introduced this show to a whole brand new audience and created new Whovians, right? Okay, so this whole thing that it's lazy to pander to fans, let me tell you what's lazy. Lazy when you go and you cast based off diversity and not based off talent. Lazy is casting a woman, right, in a role that's male because you want to change attitudes towards Doctor Who, right? Even though attitudes don't need to be changed. It's a sci-fi show. If people have a problem with the Doctor being male for over half a century, they're the ones that have a problem, not the fans. Okay? And this is why the last era of Doctor Who failed. And you can jazz it up all you want. It failed, right? So don't be giving me it's lazy because someone actually made a movie that was for a certain demographic and now it's made bank all over the world. And let me tell you that the fans like me that are in their 30s and their 40s that originally played these games growing up as kids, right? If they have kids, they've brought their kids to see the Super Mario movie and they've become fans. And then there's the younger generation that have played the Wii and played the Switch with Mario on that as well. You had him on the Game Boy, you had him on the DS, all of that, the 3D, the 2D, whatever it was, 3D, the 4D, whatever the FEC 5D crap they did, whatever, right? We've all grown up with this, right? But it's still introduced new fans to it and it's making bank, and you're calling that lazy. No, what's lazy is the policy that you do. Let's get someone okay. So we'll cast someone because they're black. We'll cast someone because they're a woman but they're non-binary. We'll cast a drag queen. We'll cast trans actress. Now we'll cast a trans man. We'll just ticking boxes, right? That's lazy, right? And then when you introduce all of these characters, and this is why we give out. It's not the fact that you've cast any of them in the first place, though. It's the fact that when you do cast them, you don't utilize them properly. Just like Chris Chibnall didn't utilize all the diverse characters he introduced, right? He even baited the fandom with this Tasman nonsense and never delivered, and not one person gave out about it. Respect the people that you're putting into these things, or don't do it at all. Because it comes across as cynical. And this is why fans have a problem. So no, BBC, it's not lazy to pander. Because if you actually create and produce a decent product, it doesn't matter if it's a sci-fi show and it's in a certain genre. If it's that good, people will talk about it. People will get interested about, oh, what's that show everybody's talking about? Right? And then they'll go and watch and say, oh, this is pretty good. I better tell me mates about this show. Right? But no. You don't want to do that. You call that lazy. Well, I tell you something, right? And I hope Bad Wolf have listened. And I hope you are listening, because I'm going to tell you this now. You have one opportunity to deliver the goods. Right? And if you don't deliver on everything that I've said, great storylines, great character development, treating these characters that are these people that you've brought into the show with respect and giving them something that they can actually get their hand, that they could chew the meat of, give them some gravitas, give them some bloody backstory. You know what I mean? Don't do what Chips did. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there's a gay man on screen. 20 seconds. Oh, exterminate! Right?
Yeah.
He just brings them out. Oh, my boyfriend's at home. You're dead. Bang!
Yeah.
That's why we've been given out. Because you introduce them. Oh, yeah, well, we had a gay man in it, so we could tick that box off. Right? But like he's on screen for less than 20 seconds or something. I mean, it's an absolute disgrace. This is why I'm giving out. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a crap if actors are gay, straight. As I said, same with actresses. I don't give a crap. Right? If they're actually given substance, they're actually good at what they do. Brilliant. But it's all done cynically. So, no, it's not lazy, BBC. The way you've been doing things, the way you run your organisation, that's lazy. Right? You are more concerned about pandering, ticking boxes, and showing how diverse you are rather than making great content. You have not made great content in several years. There's an exception. There's a few shows that are the exception, like Peaky Blinders and the show that Charlotte watches with Daniel, right? What's it? Line of Duty. Right. There's been a couple of hits. Not going to say it's all being bad, but the majority of your stuff is absolute rubbish. Comedy is dead on BBC. You're an absolute jokers of an organisation. Yeah. And if that's the attitude you have towards fans, people that made your fucking product in the first place, because remember, you wouldn't have an IP like Doctor Who if it wasn't for fans like me and fans that are even older than me keeping this going, right? When you've never respected the IP in the first place, how dare you say that it's lazy to pander to fans? Yous are the ones what's wrong with the whole thing, the whole system, right? You, Hollywood, and everybody else criticizing fans because they dare to speak up against all of this and tell you to respect their IPs and do things the right way. But when fans speak up, it's, oh, you're racist, you're bigots, you're sexist, you're homophobe. These are all the isses and all that you could come up with, right? It's an absolute disgrace, okay? And I'm going to tell you now, you have one chance to get it right with Doctor Who. Right? And no matter what my feelings are towards RTD, if he doesn't deliver, it's dead in the water. Yes, it'll be dragged on Disney Plus for the next couple of years, but I'll be gone. Like everybody else, will walk away. This won't even sustain an audience if it's that bad. Right? We've had 5 years of it under the Chibs era. We're not going to tolerate it again. We expect Doctor Who to be respected, and we expect Doctor Who to be returned to its former glory. If you can't do that, pack it away, leave it alone for a few years until someone with a bit of common sense and knows exactly what they're doing with it will respect the IP. Simple as that. Now, Charlotte, if you want to add to that, or PD, you can go ahead, but I am sick and tired of this whole laziness from the BBC. Step it up, read the room, right, and get your act together. Okay? Get your act together. You cannot afford, to be quite honest with you, to be putting out the bullshit that you've been putting out the last few years. Your organisation is on its last legs. All right? So do the right thing and actually get these shows back in order. Right? BBC used to be the pinnacle of viewing. Right? Weekend TV especially. Now it's become a joke, just like ITV, become a joke. Yous are all too busy pandering and ticking boxes rather than actually putting out quality entertainment. And then the BBC having the cheek to ask people to pay for that. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. This is not what we expect from you two guys in the British TV scene. Yous are the standard. Yous actually set the standard. Now yous have become the joke at criticising movie makers and even the critics as well. These are criticising a movie that was made for people, but other people have came on board to become the most successful animation ever. And yous are bitching because it's not for people that don't like Mario. Not true. I guarantee you, even people that have never played a Mario game, they watch that movie, even if they don't understand everything that's going on in that movie, will enjoy that movie because it'll be an enjoyable, just like the Sonic the Hedgehog. Nobody was bitching and moaning about Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, they were actually. The critics were moaning about that as well because the audience, because remember they were all going, I'm going to bring my son and my husband to see Birds of Prey because Sonic the Hedgehog is homophobic or some mad nonsense. You know what the funny thing about that was? Sonic the Hedgehog wasn't even out at the time, right? They tried to make it out that the movie was bad and the movie wasn't even out. It was out a couple of days later. A load of them got caught out. They tried to damn that movie as well. Listen, when you get all of these little shills and you get all of the media activists coming out against this, it's good. Go and watch it, right? Critics, as I said, have lost all credibility. BBC, you're losing credibility every day. And I think, and pardon the pun, but the reckoning is coming. And what I mean by that is they're actually doing a TV show called The Reckoning about Jimmy Savile. That's going to be the final nail in the coffin for the BBC because these are vile pieces of crap for even doing this, redigging this all up. If anybody should be doing it, it should be anybody associated with the BBC. And I've covered this topic of being one of the few YouTubers that have been willing to cover this. I've done a couple of streams on this. They're an absolute disgrace. They are. So I think the reckoning's coming. Say that again.
All I'll say about the Mario thing, because you covered most of it. Critics, get used to crying because there's going to be a lot of movies because there's an after credits scene and there's plans to, because Nintendo has got a lot of IPs. They've got a lot of characters, which the other good thing is critics, they don't care about your reviews. Nintendo does not give two flying monkeys.
Oh, no, they don't. Nintendo, that's what I've always loved about Nintendo, though, and why I'll always support Nintendo and still do, right? It's the fact that they've never, ever pandered to any criticism. They've always done their own, especially in Japan.
Yeah, because the Japanese culture, it does not care about Western ideals or Western pandering
or
anything like that. It has its own values, the way it tells a story, the way they treat characters. So all these movies that are going to come out, they're all going to have that same ethos. So the critics better get used to this because this is going to make so much money. And like I said, Nintendo have got enough IPs that they could rival Disney when it comes to recognizable characters that have got inbuilt fandoms that they could actually go toe-to-toe here. And I think that's what they want to do because they've seen how weakened Disney is. As a family entertainer, they know they're not seen as that anymore. Because like I said, Japan's also funny because they do see what goes on in the West.
Yeah.
So they're seeing our mistakes in the West and they're going to make sure they don't repeat them.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
So critics get used to this.
Yeah, they should, but you know, they're little victories along the way, but sooner or later, Hollywood, you know, is going to... Look, they've already had their eyes open to a few movies and stuff that have come out that have done really well, and they're wondering why their own stuff is failing. Look, if you still can't see the problem, then you are in the wrong job. It's clear what the problem is. The problem is you're so concerned about trying to please a small minority of the human race. It's unbelievable. I mean, it is. It's incredible the amount of airtime, the amount of how every day there's just something new. It's just, I've never seen this from a movement in my life whatsoever. It's just mind-boggling to me. I'm not saying that there should be representation, right? Where it doesn't matter where you stand on the trans issue. People know where I stand on it anyway. The point is, at the end of the day, if you're good at your job, no problem. But you see, a lot of the time, what we've seen in Hollywood over the last few years, and especially in the Doctor Who fandom with Doctor Who, is a lot of these people that you bring in because you want to pander haven't lived up to the expectation that fans would have and haven't delivered. And that's the problem. I mean, as I said, you had the Star Wars celebration, and you had one of the actors on one of the TV shows, and then you had an actress, which I'll get into her, but real quickly, the actor said, the best thing about Star Wars is there's no good and evil, right? Then the actress turned around and says, well, you know, Star Wars has been historically a kind of a, she kind of did the Jodie Whittaker thing where she called it a kind of a boys club, and now she's going to be one of many actresses that are going to change that. And like, I got a big cheer in the room from so-called Star Wars fans, which baffles me. I mean, they never heard of Princess Leia. No, does she not count? Does none of the other Star Wars female characters count?
Also, all the stuff in the expanded universe. There's plenty
Exactly,
of
that's what I'm
female
talking about.
characters.
Ahsoka and all of these other characters. I mean, Bo-Katan. Like, I'm not even a fan of all of them. Like,
Yeah,
where about
Luke's
these?
Luke's wife. I forgot her
Yeah,
name.
where about all of these characters? Like, do they not count? Are they not the right type of female, feminist character or something? They've got flaws. Is that what's wrong? Because I tell you something, we all have flaws. And, you know, bringing back Super Ray, who has no flaws in movies, is the biggest miscalculation of Kathleen Kennedy's reign. She's got a lot of things wrong, but this is probably the biggest screw up of them all. Bringing back a character, and not the actress, by the way, because, you know, a lot of these accounts are saying, oh, you all hate on Daisy Ridley and the black actress that got some grief. No, they were criticizing the character. There's a difference. Criticizing the character, not the actresses, right? But just change the narrative and twist the narrative. Bottom line is Daisy Ridley is probably the nicest person in the world, but Super Ray is not a character that's loved by Star Wars fans. And I'm not even a Star Wars fan, and I can tell you that she's not loved by Star Wars fans. So to bring her back is the biggest miscalculation of Kathleen Kennedy's reign. It won't be the final nail in her coffin because she's not going anywhere. It doesn't matter what other YouTubers say out there. I think it's been clear from day one that she was going nowhere. If Anton, I think she's got more power than she's ever had if she's able to come out and say that she's doing 3 movies that nobody wants. So, I mean, you know, don't see her going anytime soon, even though the other YouTuber has suggested that maybe after Dial of Destiny, she's gone or she's going to be moved somewhere. You know, he changes his story every 5 minutes anyway, but we won't get into that. Well, look, I went on a little bit longer than I wanted to because, you know, but had to be said because that BBC quote, I forgot that I actually wanted to talk about that. But this is what's wrong. And this is why Doctor Who will fail if that's what they believe. Now, I'm not saying that's what RTD believes, but if you were to look at the recent castings and then you see this headline, it's not really good, to be quite honest with you. You know, and I'm not, again, you know, I can show a bit of leeway and say you don't have to exclusively pander the fans with Doctor Who, but what I would say is you're right that it does appeal to those fans, but you can also write it like RTD did the first time around to appeal to mainstream fans. But if you're going chasing and pandering to a certain audience, you're in trouble. And I hope that isn't the case. We will see. as I said, I'll still give RTD a go. Can't wait for the 60th. I'm still looking forward to the 60th to see what happens. It's good to see David Tennant back. We'll see. But this could be classic bait and switch. Give us something good before the heartache comes. So we'll see. Could be the last time that a lot of us tune in to Doctor Who. Hopefully not. Because obviously we'll get the trailer after, so we'll kind of, a lot of fans will make up their mind after the trailer, I think. But we'll see. Right, we'll leave it there anyway. So I want to thank my two guests for being so patient as well.
PD, where would people find you? I think those.
They'll find me on the Rabbi's stream, usual place.
Oh yeah.
In the
Oh,
chat.
sorry.
That's
It's all right.
You went off on one.
Jesus, I forgot PD.
You went off on one of your monologues. I just left you to it.
Again. I forgot him again. Yeah, but don't forget, he's on Rabbi's channel and he's also here as well. Yeah, as I said, that's us finished for the night. So I want to thank you all for joining us, or the people that have been watching on all the platforms but haven't come in tonight. I understand that sometimes you don't come in for these and other times you do. Maybe this wasn't a popular episode. So if not, we might see most of you for Heaven Sent in a few episodes' time. So if we do, we'll see you then. If not, we'll see you next week for that episode.
Sleep no more.
Sleep no more. That's the one. And we will have a special little treat before it pops up, like we used to do for Classic Who. So look out for that as well. All right. We'll leave it there. Get rid of this banner now. Here we go. There you go. And we leave it there. Right. My throat is actually killing me now, so I'm going to rest it. Bye.
Night.
Right.